About a week ago at this time, I was out in the middle of the desert, all by myself. The heat of the sun, 2 bottles of water, rattlesnakes, and a lot of rocks. But the truth is, I was there on purpose. Those beautiful rocks that we use for bookends, paperweights, decorative items, those just don't happen by themselves. Somebody has to find them. And when I was out looking for rocks, I found a magnificent piece of petrified wood. And as silly as it might sound, this was at one time a living organism, a piece of wood that has turned to stone. And that's one of the reasons it's so fascinating. Without getting too scientific, basically some major event had to take place for a piece of wood to actually turn to a fossil of stone. Something like a volcanic eruption, where the ash or sediment encased the wood. Then you have to have silica, some kind of dissolved mineral that flows into that wood. So when all those puzzle pieces come together, over time, scientists say millions of years, the wood turns to stone. At the same time I'm finding this petrified wood, it occurs to me that I am pretty far out into the desert. I don't want to say I was gripped by fear or anything, but I did realize, I was out there pretty far, and if I did get lost, no one would be able to know where I was. So given the circumstances, I do what any person like myself would do. You start immediately thinking about God. Seriously though, I was having a good time out there in the Lord, just kind of by myself, communing with the Lord. And I was reminded, just as a piece of wood could turn to stone, so could our hearts. Not getting into the theological discussion about did God harden our hearts. That's not the point. And I'm not talking about the normal calcification that takes place through aging that hardens the arteries. I'm talking about our spirit, our mind, our consciousness that is so often corrupted by this world. And let's not forget, Jesus was a carpenter. He worked with wood. And like our life, wood is so workable, can be fashioned into so many different things. So we read in 2 Timothy 3:16 that all scripture is God-breathed and is useful for teaching, rebuking, correcting, and training in righteousness, so that the man of God may be thoroughly equipped for every good work. Easier said than done, especially since so many of our lives are just dumpster fires. We pretty much want God our way. And if we're not making demands on Him, we just want to be cool with Him. Jesus is just all right with me. Jesus is just all right. Yeah, it's kind of complacent way to have a relationship though, isn't it? And since the average Christian goes once every 5 Sundays, we check that box off. We're pretty well good. But if we pause long enough to do a little self-examination, we pretty much know we're not all right with God. Well, maybe we've got enough to be able to get inside the pearly gates, but that's about it, where our shirt tails are on fire. Hey, listen, I've had my ups and downs. I've had my times where I've been away from Him. I've been closer to Him, ups and downs, just like any other relationship. So maybe you don't know Him, but if you do, or you did, and you've been away, Matthew 22:37 kind of says it all. And Jesus replied, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. And the second is, like it, it's love your neighbor as yourself. All the law and the prophets hang on these 2 commandments." I guess so. My question for you today is, where are you at? And do you like where you're at? Is that where you want to stay? Do you feel like your heart has calloused? Or you've drifted away? Or maybe you've never met Jesus? There's no magical wand. You want to meet Him, you want to talk to Him. You want a closer walk, you want to build that relationship, you can talk to him right now. It's not that hard. Just start talking to him. And let him talk to you. Believe me, there's not going to be anybody more happy than he is. He is the father. He's that father whose son, the prodigal son, drifted and went off, squandered his wealth, but came back. And when the father saw the son from afar, he ran to him. He yelled to his servants, "Hey, get the robe, bring a ring, and let's kill the fatted calf and have a party that my son was once lost, but now he is found. Come home. Time to get out of this desert. It's time. Let's kill that fatted calf and have a party, friends. Come on home."